Hello, welcome back to Reading Success Academy. I'm Paula Smith, and I am excited to bring you another word attack practice session. So, we are going to be working with several multi-syllable words, and we're going to break them down into smaller chunks to make them easier to read and easier to spell. I'm going to do a quick check and make sure that we are broadcasting okay. Make sure everything looks great. And then we are going to jump right into this. All right, here we go. So we are going to move over to where you can see a list of words. I put quite a few words on here today because I want to see, or I want to give you an opportunity to see some of these word to text strategies in action in a few different settings, some different things to look for. The very first thing that we look for is words that have special endings like shun, chur, shus, jur, and jun. There's actually 8 of them. And if you have questions about special endings and like to see a list of those with some examples, make sure that you send me an email to hello@readingsuccessacademy.com. I'd be happy to help you with that. I'll send that your way. All right, so we're going to start out with, let's just go with number 1 to start out with. So what we're going to look for first are special endings. And I don't see any special endings here. So what I'm going to look for next is 2 or more letters that are working together to make one sound. So double consonants like these 2 P's, that's just going to be one sound. EA normally is working together to make either a long E sound, a long A sound, or it can be an A sound. So those are groups of letters I'm going to try for one sound. I don't see anything else here that works together, so I'm going to start at the very beginning and start sounding this out until I have a chunk. A chunk is part of a word that has one vowel sound in it. So we'll start sounding it out. D, I, s, dis, there's the chunk. Now a chunk can just be a vowel sound by itself, and that's what I'm going to do here with this next one. I'm going to say there's dis, So after you have 2 chunks, you want to blend those first 2 chunks together, and then you start sounding out again on the other side of your next chunk line. You're not going to continue to blend into the next sound in the next chunk. So we'll just do this chunk. Pa, e, peer, and then we'll put those 3 chunks together. Disappear, disappear. Now, you may have been wondering, well, why did you try the sound for that A? I tried that because a lot of times the letter A can be an sound. And if you're not sure what to try, it's a great one to start with. You can try or you could have tried A. And as you were blending those chunks together, even with an or an A sound, you probably still would have heard the word happening and been able to recognize it once you blended them together. So it's okay to start out with a sound that isn't the right one from the very beginning. All right, next up, we're going to move on. Oh, I wanted to point out too, with the EA, since I said that it can be a long E sound, an A sound, or an A sound, I always try a long E sound first because that's what it is more often than the other sounds. Now, if you try all 3 of those sounds and it's still not working out to be a word, then you'll want to separate them and make a sound for each letter. All right, we're going to move on down to number 5 now. Now, the very first thing that we're going to do is look for special endings, but you might notice on this one that there is a special ending, but it's not the end of the word, right? You see it right here. Here's a shun, but that's okay. We know what to say when we get to that part, and then we'll just have to sound out the rest. I don't see 2 or more letters that work together to make one sound, so I'm going to start at the beginning, and again, we're going to sound out until we have a chunk. D, ik, dick. Draw a line in there to break it up. My next chunk I already know is shun. Now I'll blend those first 2 chunks together. Dick, shun. And then we need to try something on this side of the line for the letter A. You could try or A. This is actually going to be an A sound, so just for sake of time, I'm going to go with A. Air. There's a chunk. Now we're going to put those chunks together. Dick, shun, air. And then whenever we have a Y at the end of a longer word, you want to try the long E sound first. It actually has 4 sounds. Letter Y is only a consonant. Well, not only. It's a consonant sound most of the time at the beginning of a word, like in yellow and in yawn. If you see it in any other place in the word, you want to try a vowel sound first. It can be a long E sound like it is in this word at the end of longer words. It can also be an I sound like in sky, and it can be an I sound like in the word gym or gymnasium. So we're going to go with the long E sound here, and we're going to put all of our chunks together that we already know we've sounded out. So we have dictionary, dictionary, dictionary. All right, let's do one more that has a special ending. Let's go with number 7. This special ending is just. Now, just can technically be sounded out because GI can be a just sound and OU can be an sound, but it happens so often in words, it's easier to just remember them as special endings. So I teach that as a special ending. I also teach GEOUS as just as well. All right, I don't see anything else that works together to make one sound, so we'll start at the beginning. Ah, con, there's a chunk. And then we have t, a, te. Push those 2 chunks together. Conte. And then we have just. Contagious. Contagious. All right. I hope you learned something from our brief word attack lesson. If you have any questions about how we break words down into smaller pieces to make them easier to read and easier to spell, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to help. And I will be going live Monday through Friday with word attack practice, and you may see some other lessons on vocabulary and spelling from time to time. I'll see you again soon.